John Fetterman goes to old age homes and punches people in the face. Ahmed Oz kicks puppies, and he's never pet a kitten. Congratulations, everyone. Those commercials are over. Congratulations. It's a big day for us all. When we're watching our sports events, we don't get to see all those commercials, all those ads. I approve this message. It's over. Congratulations. It's one of the best days of the year. Yes, I am excited to take part in democracy. Okay? I'm excited to go out there and cast my vote. Go to a school I've never gone to before other than to vote. All the nice volunteers are really excited about democracy. I do that. I get a sticker. All right. It works out for everybody. And then I go home and I get to watch a sporting event and I don't have to watch John Fetterman wears a hoodie. What a punk. Like something like that. Oh, those are terrible. I'm not one for politics. I hate politics. I really hate politics. And when it's shoved in your face like that when you're trying to watch a sporting event, oh man, it's just annoying. It's because it's all just mudslinging. That's all it is. But anyway, it's over, and we all get to move on with our lives. The election results and all that stuff will be trickling in, and we get to watch the people point to maps. All right, there you go. But all that's over. Congratulations. It's one of the best days of every couple of years when the ads are over. All right, so congrats and welcome in. Good morning, everybody. Flyers get a nice win last night. Max McGee's on the program today from Sports Center. Cherry Hill native himself, Temple University grad, joins the show to talk about the state of Philadelphia sports affairs. We got a little news on Trea Turner. We have Jonathan Gannon talking about this Eagles defensive core and what we could see coming up here against the Washington Commanders. Oh, we got spicy meatballs going on here tonight and on the show today in Philadelphia. Let's start it out with this. Trea Turner. Trea Turner is my man. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, Trea Turner and I are best friends. I am cheering for him to become a Philadelphia Philly in the not-too-distant future. And what do I see last night? None other than Bet Online put the Philadelphia Phillies as the odds-on favorite to land the shortstop. Trea Turner, ladies and gentlemen, plus 250 to sign with the Philadelphia Phillies. Does it mean anything? No. But I'd rather have it than not. I'd rather have the favorite odds to land the all-star shortstop. I'd rather have that. And I'd rather have the fact that Bryce Harper, and I'll always go back to it, considers him his favorite player in Major League Baseball. So that's what I'll default to. I'm just dreaming about the lineup and what comes to fruition in the not-too-distant future, if this is what they can accomplish in their first year of playing together, hitting their stride in the playoffs and feeling like they're never out of it. And when Max McGee joins us, here's one thing I'll tease about the interview. He's high on Bryson Stott. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that necessarily Bryson Stott is going to be high on him as a shortstop, but it means that he's going to be high on Bryson Stott in this lineup and what he could do with his bat. And I think what ends up happening is Trea Turner's your shortstop and Bryson Stott is your second baseman. So that's it. That's the way I think it's going to play out there. And if that's the case, Max McGee thinks that Bryson Stott's going to take a major leap forward, similar to guys like Jalen Hurts, similar to guys like Tyrese Maxey, who we've talked about at length on this very program when it comes to taking steps forward in their career, in the early goings of their career. So Max McGee has a lot on that. So I look forward to getting into that conversation and playing that conversation for all you beautiful people. Let's get into this. Last night, Philadelphia Flyers dropped the puck with the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues came into last night having lost 7 in a row. Flyers were more than happy to make it 8 in a row. And the Flyers, for the first 25 minutes, about 40 minutes. For the first close to 40 minutes, let's call it 30, and even 30, they were the aggressor. They were the aggressor, but they had nothing to show for it. And then they got the puck bouncing their way in that second period, and it was beautiful. Haven't had an opportunity with all that's been going on to really focus on hockey, but last night was a good opportunity to focus on hockey. If you didn't watch the game last night, it was a dominant Flyers performance, and then I listened to John Tortorella in the postgame, and very calm, by the way, John Tortorella, as you would assume, after a 5-1 victory it ended up being last night. And he's very calm, very to himself, and he's like, there's just one thing that bothered me. and we'll get to that. And it didn't bother me. I was fine with a 5-1 victory. I was fine with rattling off 3 goals in the final 10 minutes of that second period. I was fine with that. I felt great about it. Goaltender looked good in that. Samson last night looked good in that. It felt good. Everything was great. And then after the game, I watched Tortorella, and he's like, Tortorella is being asked about specifically, I think it was Cates playing last night. And he was like, hey, Cates played really well last night. And John Tortorella's like, yeah, I got to look at the tape. I think he played well, but I think everybody played well. And if there's one thing that was bothering me, this is what it was. And I'm like, what the? They did 5-1. 5-1, man. Anyway, just take you through a little bit of last night's game. Wade Allison had the goal to get things started, 1-0. I think Josie said on the broadcast it was off his pants. That's a good way to put it. It was off his pants. But it was a pretty goal, very pretty goal in terms of everything until the actual goal being scored, considering Provorov just put it off, his pants, the front of Ellison's pants for the first goal of the game. But it was a pretty goal. They were able to get control after the face-off. Provorov with the Farabee back to Provorov to Ellison right there in front of the net. Bang, Allison right in the net. Bang, goal, and the Flyers are up 1-0. Travis Konechny, I thought it was a gorgeous goal. Tippett had a little drop pass to Konechny, streaking through the slot. TK deposited it stick side for the second goal of the game, 2-0 Flyers. And then here's what I thought was weird. You're here, John Tortorella, talking about this, but he said at one point the Flyers lagged. If there was going to be an opportunity for them to lag, I would have thought it would have been towards the end of the period. Well, when there's 3 seconds left in the second period, they're already up 2-0. They keep pushing, and they get the third goal of the period. And that was the Cates goal to make it 3-0. And that was, talk about tic-tac-toe. That was a gorgeous tic-tac-toe with the Flyers there. And they went up 3-0 with 3 seconds left in the second period. 3 goals in the final 10 minutes, less than the final 10 minutes of the game. They came out then. They allow a goal in the third period. Sedlak then puts Flyers up 4-1 with 13-16 remaining in the third period. That was his first goal as a Flyer. And then Tippett gets a little tip over the goalie's shoulder into the net for the 5th goal of the game for 5-1 Flyers win. I didn't notice a period where I really thought that the Flyers were lagging. Maybe they were playing a little cautious, but lagging isn't really a way I'd describe a 5-1 game. Nonetheless, here's your brand new Flyers head coach in his first season, John Tortorella, on what he saw last night. And there was just one thing that got to him in the 5-1 loss.
It happens to all the teams when I thought the start of the third was very important, the 4-on-4 in, the penalty kill. But, we end up sitting on our heels a little bit, and all teams do it when you have that lead. I just like the way we responded, after they scored their first one. Obviously, the fourth's a big goal, but then I thought we checked. We were smart. We just played a simple game, blue line to blue line. I just like the way we were as a team, just trying to stay within our concept.
If I really had to pick one thing, it was a little lag we had there in the third period. 5-1. All right, Flyers improved 7-3-2 on the young season, which is nice to see. They got the Blue Jackets coming up as they travel to Columbus tomorrow night at 7:00 for a 7:00 puck drop right there. Columbus, bottom feeder in the Metro Division as of right now. Coordinator spoke yesterday for the Eagles. I feel like it's another, I hate the bye week. I know it's necessary. All right. I like the idea. Yeah, I get to sit and watch other teams, get to watch the rest of the league more than I would. But it feels like the Eagles have had 2 bye weeks in like a 3-week span. And it feels like we've gone without football. And then they play the Texans. So that didn't even count. That game even count. So I really miss football. So yesterday I'm watching the coordinator speak, and Shane Steichen had some great things to say about Dallas Goedert, a guy I've been high on here for a while in Philly. And I know a lot of people, waiting for the proof to be in the pudding with Dallas Goedert, where that proof is finally getting in that pudding. You've seen that this year with all he's been able to do, whether it's a bubble screen, whether it's running across the middle, whether it's getting the yards after the catch. Dallas Goedert has pretty much been doing a lot of it, whether it's run blocking, whatever it is, Dallas Goedert's been getting it done. And one of the things that I didn't talk about after the win against the Texans was after the game when Amazon Prime grabbed Dallas Goedert and they were interviewing him. Jalen Hurts crashed the interview, went up and started talking about all the things that Dallas Goedert can do in this offense to make sure that this offense stays at an elite level in the NFL. And one of the things Steichen talked about yesterday was just how great and how big a contribution Dallas Goedert has made in this offense. It was just nice to hear him get that kind of recognition, and that's kind of what stuck out to me from Shane Steichen addressing the media yesterday. The other thing was listening to Jonathan Gannon, and I know Jonathan Gannon is like number one on the, if I could make one change to this Eagles team, it would be get rid of Jonathan Gannon and bring it in just Vic Fangio and just having him, instead of being a consultant, have him be the guy to run the show. And I understand that, but the man has got some personnel now, and he's got personnel that is delivering, and he's got personnel that is delivering in his scheme. Whether it's Vic Fangio's influence that this scheme might be a little bit more aggressive than what we saw last year, or it's the fact that they have better players than they did a year ago, as to why this defense has been one of the best in the NFL. Because every week I'll just run through the stats and see what's going on and with other teams and around the league and what's trending and all that other stuff. And what's amazing to me, I mean, I think by now everyone has heard that James Bradbury, Darius Slay, and CD Deuce are some of the best three secondary members you could have in the NFL. And Avonte Maddox as your slot guy is pretty damn good as well. I think we all understand that. When you talk about rating, when you talk about turnovers, CD Deuce leads the NFL in interceptions. When you talk about opposing quarterback rating, nobody's better than James Bradbury and Darius Slay. Those are three guys right there having themselves some great years. Now, when you look at the rest of the defense, I never thought I'd be talking about one of the top teams in sacks and talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. I never thought I'd be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles defense as the number one defense in the NFL when it comes to takeaways, and that's what they are. And I never thought I'd also be looking at this defense with Jonathan Gannon running things and saying, they went from 10th last year in yards allowed per game, and right now they're third in the NFL in yards allowed per game. And then when you look at some of the other numbers, like this one right here, they're fourth in points allowed per game. They allow the fourth fewest points per game in the entire NFL. They allow 16.9 points per game. You know who allows 16.6 points per game in the NFL? And is third, the Dallas Cowboy defense. And how much time do we take talking about Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarcus Lawrence? How much time do we spend talking about those guys, standout players? Do we not appreciate the Eagles simply because we see them and we see their faults every single week? Is that one of the things that leads into it? Or is it our own personal bias against Jonathan Gannon? The fact that we saw him last year play this laid-back defense, not at all aggressive, not at all in your face, didn't have really good players out there. I mean, even TJ Edwards is having himself a fine year, and we always rip the linebacker position. He's having himself, by our standards in Philly, a great year, as a matter of fact. I think people are looking at JG and they're waiting for the shoe to drop. I think they're waiting for the moment where he's going to call plays similarly to the way he did against the Detroit Lions in week 1 in the fourth quarter. I think we're waiting for that moment with Jonathan Gannon where it's all going to crash and burn. But if you look at the numbers, and the fact that the Eagles are 8-0, and then you attribute those numbers to the upgrade in personnel, the huge upgrade in personnel with Hassan Reddick and James Bradbury, bringing those guys in, CD Deuce learning as he goes, learning on the job and only leading the NFL in interceptions. Proof's in the pudding. Are you willing, and it feels weird to say this, but in terms of the Howie Roseman interaction with the fans last week in Houston, I'm forgiven for your first Super Bowl, and then bleep you, right? Is it time to forgive Jonathan Gannon? Is it time to look at Jonathan Gannon and go, you know what? Maybe I just thought, maybe you just didn't have the personnel last year, because now you got some personnel, now you're doing great. And there was one thing that Jonathan Gannon said yesterday that, made me go back and just look at the stats again, because I just, this is the Eagles defense? Really? Get out of here. What if I told you that the Eagles were going to come into this season with the most takeaways in the NFL as a defense, the fourth best defense in terms of points, third best defense in terms of yards per game, yards per game. What if I told you that? And one of the better teams when it comes to just getting after the quarterback with sacks. What if I told you that? Oh, and a guy you were going to trade for like 20 minutes before your opening kickoff of the season now leads the NFL with 5 interceptions. What if I told you all that was going to be on the Eagles defense? You would have been like, the Phillies got a better chance of getting no hit in the World Series than that. Phillies are going to be in the World Series? Like that kind of thing. And I wonder if some people are starting to rethink Jonathan Gannon as a defensive coordinator. Because here's what I've noticed. Even when we talk about Jalen Hurts, people want to talk about the schedule the Eagles have played. When we talk about 8-0, people want to talk about the schedule, right? We'll brush that aside. We'll brush that aside when it comes to arguing for Jalen Hurts or how good the Eagles are or whatever. But the minute we talk about Jonathan Gannon, it's like, well, who has he played? Who is Jonathan Gannon played? Like the guy that has the most haters, I think so far still in this fan base is Jonathan Gannon. And I'm starting to look at it and go, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe the first introduction, maybe the first impression we got of Jonathan Gannon, it wasn't the best. Here's Jonathan Gannon yesterday talking about something that definitely raised my eyebrows when it came to talking about this defense and what he's been able to see from the secondary in particular.
Those guys have made some catches when the ball's around them, and that's why we're playing really good pass defense right now and taking the ball away at a high level because, they understand where to be. They understand where their opportunities are going to come, and they make some plays that, if me and you were out there, we probably wouldn't make them, So it's been good. They're executing well, and, we need to continue to do that.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, you just need to continue to do that. When he says you or I wouldn't make those plays, that if we're out there, I think he's referring to his unit last year. I think he's referring to the fact that, he had experience in the secondary when it came to a guy like Harris, for instance. But when it came to everybody else, not so much. Not so much. I mean, Steven Nelson did a fine job last year, did a good job last year, as a matter of fact. But I don't think he was James Bradbury. As a matter of fact, he was not James Bradbury. Darius Slay, I feel like, is having a better year than what he had a year ago. And C.D. Deuce, when it comes to getting in the backfield, what? Jonathan Gannon setting a safety to the backfield? What? On a blitz? What? He's doing a good job doing that. Got a sack. 5 picks. This is a totally different defense. Going into this season, there were 2 people under the microscope more than anybody by a huge margin. On offense, it was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has stepped up to the plate and hit a grand slam. As far as I'm concerned, he is the MVP of the NFL right now. Whatever happens with Josh Allen, still waiting to see the news on Josh Allen, by the way. Elbow injury. How much time is he going to miss, if any? But as of right now, you look at that team, 2 losses on the season. It's kind of hard to not pick the quarterback of the undefeated team, especially when that quarterback has been playing like an MVP throughout this season. Jalen Hurts has risen to the occasion. He was under the microscope more than anybody on the offensive side of the football. On the other side of the football, defense, there was no one under the microscope more than Jonathan Gannon. They said to Jalen Hurts, hey, Jalen Hurts, we think you're good enough to invest in and give you talent and build around you with talent. We'll bring in A.J. Brown. We're going to get you Devontae Smith as a rookie. We're going to give you some pieces. Zach Pascal, we're going to give you a nice veteran wide receiver as well to be out there. We're going to give you talent. Gannon, we're really going to invest in this defense. We're going to get you Hassan Reddick. We're going to get you James Bradbury. We're going to go make sure we get a safety before kickoff to open the season. We're going to make sure we go out there. We're going to draft you Jordan Davis. We're going to make sure that you have talent. And at the trade deadline, you know what? We like what you've done so much. We're going to get you Robert Quinn as well. See how you do there. Oh, and we're also going to get you another veteran linebacker, an outside linebacker in Kazir White. See how you do with all that. All right? All right, good luck to you. Go get him. 3rd in the NFL in yards, 4th in the NFL in points, 1st in the NFL in takeaways. What more do you need right now from this Eagles defense? Oh, and then there's that little chestnut sitting over there, undefeated. I didn't think I'd be saying it about this defense with Jonathan Gannon, with the upgrades and all that. Will he use them properly? Will he let a guy like Hassan Reddick eat? That whole thing. And boy, has he done it. So are you rethinking your stance on Jonathan Gannon, or does he still suck? Like that's the question I'm throwing out there, because I am rethinking my stance on Jonathan Gannon, because both Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Gannon answered the bell this season. Going into the year, there was nobody under more scrutiny, nobody under more pressure, nobody with "you must perform right now" attached to their name. Nobody more so than Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Gannon. And so far, it's been beautiful. It's been just downright gorgeous. By the way, Eagles with 20 sacks on the season, and that's good enough for 10th. That's the ranked in at 10th. Let's see this here. Did I do this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th highest sack total in the NFL with 26. That's where they're at right now. Yeah, I have it right there. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me tell you about my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right here in Philadelphia. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, for over 40 years, he's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged, find the perfect present for that special someone in their life, and let's not forget about the push presents, fellas. Push presents are very much a thing now. Steven Singer is the place to go for that push present. Your lady has the baby? Push present. That's how it works. Plus, if you're looking to get engaged, you have Ready for Love diamond engagement rings standing by at the ready. So it's not just a clever name. And a real jewelry expert will walk you through the entire process at Steven Singer Jewelers, so you make sure that you're getting taken care of and treated like a real family member. And here's what you got going on at Steven Singer Jewelers. You got the perfect price each and every day. Now, what's the perfect price? Other jewelers like to mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you, make you feel like you won something. Oh, I really got a negotiator. You really got me there. Well, it's Steven Singer. You don't got to worry about that. You don't got to worry about that pressure. You don't have to think, oh, is the person next to me getting a better deal than I? No, they're getting the perfect price as well at Steven Singer Jewelers. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price, online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's jump on the Rutherford Orthopedics guest line. Talk to my man, Max McGee, Cherry Hill Zone, Temple University Zone, Sports Center Zone. Max McGee joins us right now, talk things, all things Philly sports. The Rutherford Orthopedics guest line all the way from Bristol, Connecticut, by way of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and Temple University, the one, the only, Mr. Max McGee from Sports Center. What's up, Max?
Mark, thanks for having me on, man. Always a pleasure being on with you.
Yeah, appreciate making his second appearance here on the Farzy Show for the good people of Philadelphia. Give this man, local product, a follow on the old Twitterverse. He'll be back on by the time we air this tonight on Sports Center, 10 o'clock. First off, Max, I saw this tweet and I just thought, all right, this is from Halloween, so either he's got a great Halloween costume on or he's just greatly anticipating some more Phillies baseball. I don't know. What led you to tweet out, I love being in Philadelphia, other than the obvious, Philadelphia's a great city?
It was just about being in that city when we were not expecting the Philadelphia Phillies to be in the World Series. I'm not sure what your personal expectations were for the Phillies, but I'm sure that them making a World Series appearance completely outlasted them. And as were my expectations as well. So this was at a time when I put out that tweet when everybody was excited and everybody was feeling that type of energy, along with the Philadelphia Eagles getting ready to play on Thursday Night Football, obviously an undefeated squad, the best team in the NFL. And we all know the people who are Philadelphians and who are living in South Jersey or the Delaware Valley, and wherever you may be at the time, there is a certain type of vibe when the Philadelphia sports are good. And it is a rare time when we have to just appreciate everything that they've done for us at the same time. It's very rare when the Eagles, the Sixers, the Phillies, and the Flyers, who have come off to a pretty hot start under John Tortorella, have all been impressive. And that was that feeling in that tweet. I love being in Philadelphia when these sports teams are good.
You know, when the Eagles improved to 8-0 with their latest victory, I turned off that game and switched gears to watch the World Series. And even though the Phillies were struggling, I tweeted out, like, I couldn't believe that the Eagles were 8-0 and I'm watching the Phillies in the World Series. Like, those two things were like, I never thought I'd say that at the same time in a billion years, let alone this year, especially with the way the Phillies played in September to end the season. Now, what is your overall takeaway from this Phillies season? Is it a look back on a missed opportunity, or wow, they exceeded my expectations?
They exceeded my expectations. We all wanted them to beat the Houston Astros for obvious reasons other than us being just fans. But look, they were just a better team. We ran into just a bigger monster, and we can all live with that. I think we've all learned that when John Middleton spends money, this is what happens. You can go over the luxury tax, John Middleton. It is okay. Now, we are expecting Nick Castellanos to hit more than the amount of home runs that he had. We're expecting a little bit better of a performance from him at the plate in the postseason. He cannot be so aggressive in the beginning of the count, going for sliders down and away when everyone knows the scouting report for Nick Castellanos. But I digress, Mark. It was we learned so much about what the Phillies can do for the future. They've already started to make decisions on Gene Segura and their future, and they've already basically gave us a blueprint on what they plan to do for the future, whether that come back with McGee and Andrew Painter as their 3 and 4 starters, whether that go out and get Jacob deGrom in free agency or Trea Turner in free agency. They've laid out the blueprint on what actually could work to be able to win the NL East and then make an extended run of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And my audience knows that all it takes is Bryce Harper saying someone is his favorite baseball player to watch, and that's Trea Turner, which means now, if de facto, he is going to be on the Phillies next year. So that's all it takes as far as I'm concerned.
He did it with JT Realmuto, get JT signed, sign JT. So if we can get Trea Turner, maybe we can make another run at this World Series thing. We'll see what happens.
All right, first base. Where's your vote? Rhys Hoskins returns or Rhys Hoskins gets moved? What do you think?
Oh, man, I think Rhys Hoskins returns because what is the better option out there? I know the frustrations with Rhys Hoskins. If he's a very streaky hitter, if he's not hitting home runs, what kind of value does he really bring to this lineup? I don't know what else is out there in terms of the free agency. I know he's eligible for arbitration, and Scott Boras is his agent, which we all know money will be the determining factor. He's done great work with the Philadelphia Phillies. I think that John Middleton and Mr. Dave will come up with a number that they think is appropriate for him. If it exceeds that number, we won't see him. Simple as that. I would like to see Rhys Hoskins back at first base because I'm not sure what the other options are. I think that they will make a run at Trea Turner. Now, I'm not sure if Trea Turner can play first base. I'm not sure who else is out there, but I think Rhys is coming back.
I think that the addition of Trea Turner would help us help the Phillies rather, not in the idea of him playing first, but more so the idea of moving Rhys Hoskins down in the order, because Turner's a top of the order hitter. Maybe you have him lead off or Schwarber stays leading off and he bats second. I think it would help him in a couple of different categories there. But one of the things that you mentioned there was Nick Castellanos. Are you confident that going into next season, Nick Castellanos will put forth a better statistical season than what we saw for the vast majority of this year?
I'm confident in Nick Castellanos. I know he had an up and down season. I know he would love to hit more home runs. His average wasn't the best, but it certainly wasn't the worst. Playing in Philadelphia, it affects a lot of people sometimes. And I think even Bryce Harper, you saw him just kind of try to do too much year one in Philadelphia. And I think once he gets into year 2, year 3, hopefully it's year 2, he can improve his average. He can hit 25 to 30 home runs, get real comfortable in that lineup. I think Nick Castellanos was a product of poor management early on with Joe Girardi. And then I feel like he kind of ran into a buzzsaw with his injury later in the season, right as Rob Thompson was getting this team going again. So I think Castellanos comes back in year 2, much improved, as long as he brings out that sage in that Moorestown home, which we all know who used to be the previous owner. Mark, we all know who.
Yes.
I'm not even going to say his name. Number 25 for the Sixers. He used to be the previous owner of that house. There's got to be some sage going on in that South Jersey community, because if not, he's going to come back hitting 213, 230 with 15 home runs, and that's not acceptable.
Yeah, it's that guy that Luka just crossed up pretty terribly.
I saw that was bad.
That was bad. Oh, that was nasty. That was nasty. All right. I don't know. I was following this from afar, and I'm in a situation where both kids are sick in my house, so I'm busy with that. And all of a sudden, I start seeing Jeff Saturday's name come up in every other tweet notification that I have. And I'm like, what the hell is Jeff Saturday doing? Whatever. He's the head coach now at Indianapolis Colts. He was an in-studio guest. He was an analyst with you guys up there in Bristol for years, and now all of a sudden you blink and he's an NFL head coach. First off, your reaction to that news, and how did you get the news that Jeff Saturday was moving to be a head coach for the Indianapolis Colts?
I found out in a group chat, and I have a bunch of friends who are sports reporters around the country, and I thought it was like a fake Adam Schefter account. And that he just shared like an Onion article, and I actually go out and search it and look at all the verified accounts, because this is 2022, man. This is Twitter. Anybody can apparently have a verified account for $8 a month now. So you have to really make sure who is real and who is fake.
Right.
I've only been around Jeff Saturday 2 or 3 times in person. He is one of the nicest people in Bristol, Connecticut. He is very highly respected in the sports business community. I could not be happier for Jeff Saturday. Of course, you will see all of our personalities on ESPN, whether it be First Take, SportsCenter, Get Up, whatever. They have concerns about the process in which he became the head coach. You only have high school experience. I'm not knocking Jeff Saturday. If I were in his position, you have to take the NFL head coaching job. That doesn't just grow on trees around back at Whole Foods. You know what I mean? So you have to take that job. And I don't really care if he's black, white, Hispanic, whatever. He jumped the line of a lot of assistants in the NFL. Reggie Wayne, he's the wide receivers coach of the Indianapolis Colts. You don't think he could have been the head coach? If Jeff Saturday could be the head coach, Reggie Wayne could be the head coach. Just comes down to what that owner, Jim Irsay, was comfortable with. And, the NFL has a reputation of a good old boys league. Whoever you're comfortable with will move on. And this may be one of those examples, but at ESPN, we could not be happier for Jeff Saturday. And now I'm starting to hear articles from Pro Football Talk that Dan Orlovsky may be considering joining him. And we can't lose Dan Orlovsky, man. He's good at his job. I love D.O.
Well, if you guys need any more football analysis, I was a starting free safety freshman year of Archbishop Wood High School, so I got you. All right, so just look no further.
Archbishop High.
All right. When I look at this Eagles team, I see disrespect, quite frankly, from a lot of the national media, yourself not included, because you know what's up. Want to ask you 2 things. One, as a interviewer, how do you continue to pose the question from the national media to the Eagles in a roundabout way? So when do you guys think you're going to lose? Because that seems to be a common thing. Hey, it's like asking somebody, when do you think you're going to mail it in? You know what I mean? So I hear that question time and time again, instead of just talking about how damn good this football team has been this year.
Well, Mark, I kind of disagree with you, because Stephen A. Smith on First Take this morning, he had his Stephen's A list, and he had the Philadelphia Eagles as the #1 team. He didn't have the Baltimore Ravens there. He didn't have the Minnesota Vikings even in his top 5. He had the Philadelphia Eagles as #1. I think ESPN and a lot of national media, they definitely respect the Eagles. As far as them asking, when are you guys going to lose? When are you guys going to mail it in? It's kind of like one of those sexy topics of maybe you guys should lose first before you get into the playoffs. Just get that out of the way. Who knows? Maybe Nick Sirianni, along with the Flowers talk, he's saying maybe we can go undefeated. He may not say that on the podium, but he may be saying to his guys, hey, let's run the table and see what happens. The 72 Dolphins did it. Why not us? And I think the Eagles are going to put a lot of people on notice. Jalen Hurts has exceeded expectations by so many people so far. He's a legitimate MVP candidate. And we heard before the season started, he and A.J. Brown have this close relationship. And he's not like he's just staring down A.J. Brown at every passing opportunity. He's going through his progressions and still getting A.J. Brown the ball. The 2 of them are going to be Pro Bowlers. And I think the Eagles are going to definitely make a run in the playoffs this year. Obviously, they're 7-0, 8-0, and they have a lot to prove still.
Absolutely. Look, at the time we tape this, we're still waiting to see what happens with Josh Allen and what's going to happen with him and his elbow injury that he suffered in the loss against the New York Jets. Albeit they suffered another loss, their second of the season, and we're still waiting to see what happens with Allen here. So I'll ask you this. Is right now Jalen Hurts the favorite to win MVP in the NFL, you think?
Ooh, right now. Okay, let me go through the list of candidates I see in my head. Obviously, you're going to go against Patrick Mahomes. You're going to go against Lamar Jackson. I think Tyreek Hill down at Miami, he's on pace for a 2,000-yard season. How often do we see that? That's hard to compete with, man. But I think Jalen Hurts, as it stands right now, he would be in my top three.
Okay.
He would be in my top three. Yeah.
Okay.
Even with Josh Allen being hurt, I hope Josh Allen comes back and this is an injury he suffered his rookie year. So hopefully he's able to persevere through that. But Jalen Hurts right now, as it stands at the time of the recording, he's in my top three MVP voting. I don't get a vote, but if I did have a vote, he'd be the winner of it. You
can certainly influence votes, though. It's, by the way, it's 2:13 on Tuesday afternoon. 2:13 to Tuesday afternoon that we're taping this interview. Kind of a transition here in all your fandom and all your time covering Philadelphia sports as well. Jalen Hurts and Tyrese Maxey seem to be taking the biggest leap forward. I'll rule out the second straight year as a starter. I'll rule that out. But just in terms of a young career, taking that major step forward, Jalen Hurts has taken one of the most epic leaps I can remember. Tyrese Maxey has done the same thing in his second year, this one as a starter, third year in the NFL, in the NBA. Does anybody else jump to mind that have taken leaps like this in your time of watching and covering Philadelphia sports?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Okay, let's go through the four major sports. The second year, man.
McNabb was an MVP, but that was his second year in the NFL runner-up to the MVP, Marshall Faulk. Mike Schmidt, before our time in the 70s, he had a major step forward in his second year as a starter for the Phillies at third base. And really, I think it's these two guys, Maxey and Hurts, up next.
Maxey and Hurts are definitely up there. I can't have anyone come to mind so far as previous years, but I do anticipate Bryson Stott for the Philadelphia Phillies making that type of leap for his second year in the MLB. Think about it like this. He's coming up in the MLB ranks, and he's competing with Juan Camargo, because that was Joe Girardi's boy. We were seeing Camargo getting first-team reps as a starter for a Major League Baseball team. We can't find Juan Camargo anymore now because Bryson Stott took his job. He finds his way into the starting job. He competes throughout the whole season, especially when Rob Thompson comes in. He elevates his game, gets to the playoffs, makes key hits. He struggled in the World Series, sure. But when you saw little spurts of him getting 12, 13 pitch at-bats, he has great eye discipline. And I know he didn't really hit great average numbers, but he's showing the potential whether he be at shortstop or second base. I think he can definitely elevate his game for the second year with everything that's been with him on tape to 270 hitter, 20 to 25 plus home runs. And with the protection in that lineup that he does have, maybe they do get Trea Turner and sign a couple other pitchers to get him even more at bats. But I think Bryson Stott will be in that conversation of Tyrese Maxey and Jalen Hurts of taking that next step in his second year in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. Now that the Phillies are done, Joel Embiid has decreed that now officially the Sixers season has begun. And in this new season with their win over the Suns, they're now 1-0. First off, what do you make of that? And second, do you think Joel Embiid is going to be, once he's 100% healthy, fully back from the flu, plantar fasciitis that he had in the offseason, do you think this guy's going to be poised for another MVP candidacy this year?
When Joel Embiid is healthy and he is motivated, he is the best player on the planet. I've not been alive very long. I'm only 32 years old. But I have only seen maybe Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the type of big men who dominate. I've never seen a guy who can shoot threes, fade away, take you back to the basket, pass, lead a team. When he's healthy, he's the best player on the planet. And I know he got robbed last year of the MVP, again, from that guy in Denver. I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. Now, I don't like when he talks about how the season starts now. I think he just kind of trolls all of us.
Right.
And I was a little embarrassed the night of the opener against Boston, where they just kind of looked out of shape, looked a little bit ragged. They got run all over the floor. That last night's win was encouraging. He dropped 33, didn't shoot the ball particularly well. He carried the team for Tyrese Maxey, only shot 4 of 18. But you still beat the Phoenix Suns, who are a highly competitive team in the NBA. I think when it's all said and done, when James Harden comes back, it's just going to ease off the pressure for Joel a little bit. And when it's all said and done, Joel Embiid will be hoisting a championship trophy in Philadelphia. And that's not because I'm a fan.
It's because of your analysis of the sport and all the people that you're around up there in Bristol and everything like that. That's great, man. That's great. I know I'm feeling really good about the Philadelphia sports scene right now. I mean, you talked about right there a Sixers team winning a championship, which is great. I want to swing it back to the Phillies for a second here. The fact that this was the time that this is the first time they were all playing together only gives me more hope. And I feel like this year was a tease to John Middleton. Like, look what I can do, as you mentioned, with that first year over the luxury tax. And now I have the opportunity again in free agency with Trea Turner, for instance, or you mentioned DeGrom, to spend that stupid money and get this team back. Because I think the Eagles are poised for success for a long period of time with a young quarterback. I think the Sixers are in a similar situation with the rise of Tyrese Maxey and what they have going on so far this year. And the Phillies, I think, are right in that same boat. So do you think the Phillies are using this season now, albeit as a building block for long, sustained success?
They have to, Mark, because they cannot go backwards. Once you get to the World Series, it's not like you can go back to winning 87 games and losing 75 games and just relying on maybe we may get a spark in the playoffs. You have to find somebody for this rotation. Now, a lot of people, they will just say, come back and get Trea Turner, just throw him in the lineup anywhere you can and let's score 8 runs a game. But I think everybody knows that in that World Series, the rotation just kind of drifted off a little bit, maybe because of fatigue, or maybe we'll just give the credit to the Houston Astros lineup for them teeing off on Zach Wheeler game 1. But I think you got to find a way to get Jacob DeGrom and steal him from the New York Mets. Once you pair Jacob DeGrom and Zach Wheeler and then Aaron Nola, I don't like when they just going to rely on Mick Abel, 20 years old, or Andrew Painter, who's 19 years old. We're going to rely on 2 guys who are obviously immensely talented, but they've never thrown that deep into a Major League Baseball season with that amount of innings on their arms. If they find a way to get Jacob DeGrom, that tells me, and that sends a message to the entire baseball community, Philadelphia and beyond, the Phillies are here and they're for real.
Awesome. Max McGee, great having you on the show again. I appreciate it. Make sure everyone you're following Max McGee on social media, including Twitter as well. And let's not forget, my man just loves being in Philadelphia. So there you go. There's nothing really much to it today. Max, great catching up with you, my friend. My best to everybody up there in Bristol. And hopefully you guys don't lose Dan Orlovsky. And I know it would take a lot to pry him away from all you fine people up there at ESPN.
Trying to let Dan cook, Mark. Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Max McGee joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Just a fun guy. By the way, PJ, this is on me maybe. You could hear my cough. I could have sworn I was turning my mic off when I was coughing. My lungs out. Yeah, I thought I turned my mic off. I apologize, everyone, for hearing my horrendous cough. Here's what I did. While my family is just everyone's sick. Oh man, Lil Toots, Leo, Yo-Yo, as he's affectionately known, and my wife, me, everyone, we're all sick. Here's what I decided to do. I decided while I was feeling like crap and while I have horrendous allergies, I was deciding, you know what? Now is the time to take the runner off our steps. A runner that has been on our steps. Now, it's a 100-year-old home. I'm going to go ahead and assume the runner, the carpeted steps, right? I'm going to assume that it hasn't been on the steps for 100 years, but maybe close to 100 years. But I'm going to take that off. And to anyone who's never done that before, like myself, prior to doing it, that's a job. I didn't assume it was just going to be ripping the carpet off the steps by any means. there's a whole lot of things that go on right there. There's a whole lot of jazz that goes on right there. And I decided to do that. I did wear a mask, though, to try to help not breathe in all the dust mites and cat hair and all that fun stuff. But, yeah, I came on the other side of that going, this was a terrible idea, especially while sick. So I think that delayed my 100%ness to get back to it. But, I'm powering through, man. I'm playing hurt. You know why? No days off. That's why. No days off. But my thanks to Max McGee for joining us. Always enjoy a conversation with Max. Great dude. Appreciate him coming on. Let me tell you right now about the people at Manscaped and manscaped.com, where you can get 20% off when you use promo code Farzy and free shipping at manscaped.com. You'll enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0, which includes their lawnmower, ear and nose hair trimmer, their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the lawnmower trimmer as well, the 4.0. Oh, it's fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Join 4 million men worldwide to use Manscaped to take care of what they need to take care of. To Manscaped with confidence and comfort. And that's why they have the skin-safe technology available at manscaped.com. So do what I do. Do what 4 million men worldwide do. And enjoy the comfort and the confidence of Manscaped at manscaped.com. 20% off when you use promo code Farzy. How about this, ladies and gentlemen? How about the amazing people at Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Do you use CBD? Do you like CBD? If you want to try a different type of CBD, or just try CBD in general, Freestone Farm CBD is where you go. It's perfect for after a workout. It's perfect for when you're winding down your day and just sitting down and relaxing. Freestone Farms is where it's at. You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks into the chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics are absolutely amazing. Freestone Farm CBD. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about the amazing people at PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. You've heard me talking a lot about Mojo and the amazing Mojo app. Mojo is fantastic. Over 300 skilled players in the NFL, from running backs to wide receivers, from quarterbacks to tight ends. Each athlete has stock on the Mojo share price, and it rises and falls in real time based on the field performance, news, or anything else that might affect expectations. Prices move all year long, so there's no off season. Mojo's published guaranteed payout formula is based on objective stats, so you always know exactly what the stock is worth. Think of it like an underrated rookie right now that might be out there. You might think, oh, now's the time for them to break out onto the scene. Mojo app. Mojo is available in New Jersey on iOS, and just by downloading the app, you have a chance to win up to $10,000 in free shares of player stock. Click the link in the description for a chance to win up to $10,000 in free shares of player stock. Must be 21 or older and physically located in New Jersey to trade on Mojo. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's what you can do with the Mojo app. Let's jump into the chat check, see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine day. Let's see here. April. Good morning, April. Kevin. Hello, April. So glad I didn't have to watch these stupid ads anymore. John Fetterman goes to nursing homes and punches people in the face. Ahmed Oz juggles with puppies. Like whatever. It's all over. It's all over. Hope you got your sticker yesterday. So glad that's over. April, me too. Mally, what's up, Mally? Sean Gillespie, good morning, everyone. That's very nice. April, hello. Mally, hello. Mopar. Wait a minute. Mopar, today is National Scrapple Day? You know, I saw Avante Maddox at that Kelsey event. I just said hi, and I was like, I need to ask him about Scrapple, but he was with his friends. I don't want to interrupt. Wait, Sean Gillespie, ew, Scrapple? April can't do Scrapple. Oh, we've talked about that. Oh man, like I said, maybe 3 times a year. Maybe 3 times a year, I'll wake up and I'll think about making some eggs, right? And I'll think about, what is a meat? I need a breakfast meat of sorts. Breakfast burritos become a big thing in my house. I really enjoy making the breakfast burrito. But then I'll just be like, you know what, man? I need to have The everything bagel, scrapple, egg, and cheese. Scrapple, egg, and cheese on the everything bagel. A little hot sauce, a little sriracha, and a little ketchup. Enjoy the ketchup. Love the ketchup. Not opposed to the ketchup. Love to have all that mixed together, and I make that for people out of town. I call that the Philly special. It's fantastic. Now I'm thinking about it. Tonight might be a day. Nah, I kind of went hog wild yesterday eating. Yeah, because like my appetite came back from being sick. So it was like, oh man, I don't even want to say what I finished my day with, I should say. But it was one of those things where I was laying in bed. I was like, wow, I was proud of myself for how well I'd eaten that day and really didn't eat that much. And then I got out of bed because I got hungry. And then it was just all over. It was all over. That's where those are my fat hours. Anytime I lay in bed and go, oh, I'm going to get a good night's sleep and I'm up because I'm hungry. Those are just like no holds barred, man. Oh, man. But anyway, Scrapple is a big part of that. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get Scrapple today. Jeff Lipsch, what's up, Jeff? How you doing? 2 questions. What do you think of Frank Reich fired and Jeff Saturday getting the job with no experience? And if the Eagles keep this up this season, will he be poached? Oh, Gannon. Will Gannon get a head coaching job next year? Yeah, probably. As far as the Jeff Saturday hiring, here's how I explained it yesterday, and I stand by this. It is the good old boy network. Irsay is going with a guy that the fans like. He's going with a guy that's one of the like a favorite in franchise history, and he's going with a guy that I feel like he just wants to give a chance to. I think he is punting on the season. That's what I think is happening. I think everyone understands the Rooney Rule, and I think everyone understands that this goes even beyond the Rooney Rule. Because as Max McGee even said, he jumped past everyone. Never been a head coach, never been a coordinator, never been a coach. High school experience is the only thing on his resume. Not a lot of fields that you could get away with that in any job. He's boys with Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay brought in a guy he likes, a guy he knows the fans like, and a guy that he knows is going to raise a lot of interest. And in doing so, he jumped past everyone on that coaching staff. Nobody who is currently a coach right now, other than Frank Reich, of the Indianapolis Colts, at the time they fired Frank Reich, I should say, nobody on that staff who was a coach was more qualified, apparently, than a guy who's never coached. It doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. It's not a good rule. It's not a good move. Excuse me. It's not a good move. It's not a good rule of thumb for Jim Irsay to think to himself, I'll just hire a friend of mine. The slightly better choices that I pointed out yesterday. Do I still have it? Slightly better choices than Jeff Saturday, I think. Slightly better choices. Matt Ryan, just have him be the backup quarterback and the coach. All right. Pat McAfee. I just always enjoy Pat McAfee. And I want someone to have a fewer amount of sleeves than Bill Belichick. And then I had another one. Did I mention D'Amico Ryans? But D'Amico Ryans is actually a serious one, and he's currently coaching. He's a defensive coordinator of the 49ers. And there's one more name that just escapes me right now. Okay. Oh, Peyton Manning. But the stipulation would be that Peyton Manning would have to still do the Manning cast while doing the games as well. So those are my 3. Sean Gillespie, Frank Reich should have gotten the full season. I 1,000% agree, especially when you can compare it to what they ended up doing. You mean to tell me bringing in Jeff Saturday is a better idea than having Frank Reich finish the season? Really? The only way it makes sense for Frank Reich to get fired now, and I know how terrible they were last weekend, excuse me, but the only way it makes sense for Frank Reich to be fired now is if you walked into Jim Irsay, punched him in the face, and every member of his family. That's the only way it makes sense for Frank Reich to get fired now, especially for Jeff Saturday. Mally, now Gannon will always get the looks at head coach, especially if the defense keeps going like this. Very true, but I think the Eagles have someone else to slide right in that place, and that's Vic Fangio. Mihai Sanchez, what's up, Mihai? Good morning, everyone. My hot take is Schwarber or Castellanos should learn first base, and Hoskins leaves entirely. Schwarber has the build for a first base. Yeah, he absolutely does. Also, does Nick Maton have a starting role here? No. Nick Maton does not have a starting role here. I can say that. Castellanos and Schwarber, I'd give it a shot. I think Schwarber's got limited experience, if any, as a first baseman. I don't think it was with the Cubs because obviously Rizzo was still there, but I feel like I've seen him at first base before. I don't think either of those. If you're looking for a defensive upgrade at first base, I'm not going to say, hey, Nick and Kyle, learn first base. You'll be an upgrade over. Oh, anyone's better than Hoskins. Not really. That's not true. That's not a true statement. No matter how frustrated you are with Rhys Hoskins, it could be worse at first base. Or it can't be much worse. It can still be worse. And in the effort of trying to elevate the position, what is it in Moneyball when they're trying to convince, who is it, Hackenberg? Who's the accused? Hatterberg? Was it Chris Pratt? Yeah, his role. You're going to learn to play first base. I've never played first base. Is it hard? No, it's extremely difficult. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, there you are, PJ. Schwarber played first base during time in Boston. Wasn't great, but it could work. All right. Random Anton, what's up? Good old Jalen Noodle Arm Hurts. That's what they tell me. I ran some numbers, by the way. I gave you the numbers on the offense, or excuse me, the defense. Third in yards, fourth in points, first in turnovers, fifth in sacks. Okay. Hurts' numbers. Second in the NFL, passer rating, 107.8. Second in yards per attempt for the old noodle arm, Jalen Hurts at 8.5 yards per attempt. Sixth in completion percentage. That's up 7 points from what it was a year ago. He's at 68.2. Sixth in quarterback rating. Yes, quarterback rating and passer rating are two different things. Quarterback rating, sixth. He is 63.1. He is second in the league with the second fewest interceptions with 2. Tom Brady, by the way, most attempts in the NFL, fewest interceptions, just 1. 10 touchdowns. And Jalen Hurts also has 18 touchdowns accounted for, combination with his 12 passing touchdowns and his 6 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, he's had himself a pretty nice year. That's for sure. John Cheeseborough, you old sandbagging son of a bitch. How are you? Nice to see you. Today's my first non-NFL sports interaction since Saturday night. John, welcome. It's nice to have you back. Huddle around the campfire, my friend. It's warm. John Cheeseborough, after the Phillies lost the World Series, I say the Phillies need to add some pitching depth. Bullpen games are unacceptable to me outside of emergencies or maybe doubleheaders. John, you and I are on the same page. The fact that there's so many scheduled bullpen games. Like, I really remember this going through the playoffs last year, thinking to myself, how many bullpen games were there throughout the playoffs? Like, you'd hear the manager after the game, like, oh, tomorrow will be a bullpen game. What? Or it'd be like Monday, and they'd be like, oh, Thursday, it'll be a bullpen game. What? Emergency situations. Emergency situations only. Mopar. What about the thought of putting Stott at first base? Yeah, I just don't. I don't see anybody just learning first base and being better than Hoskins. And believe me, I'm not saying Hoskins is like a gold glover by any means, but holy pots and pans. If you're looking to be better defensively at first base, go get Anthony Rizzo. John Cheeseborough, I really feel like the no-hitter broke them and they were pushing too hard. Castellanos gave Bryce Harper no backup in the lineup, no protection. Yeah, I agree. John Cheeseborough, I'm okay with trading Rhys at this point if it's not going to. Yeah, he's guaranteed to frustrate you either way. I hear you, John. I'm not opposed to trading Rhys either. I just want to know what you're getting back for him and who's at first base. Cruising through. Dan Schwartz. Sports suck right now. Kill me. What? Dan? The Flyers are, what did I say? 7-3-2? Flyers doing well. All right. They won last night 5-1. The Sixers are undefeated in their newly decreed season by Joel Embiid. They're 1-0. What's the problem here? John, I thought they named Saturday the interim coach. Yes, that's true. But he was there as a consultant for interim. The Rooney Rule didn't apply. Yeah, so basically, as long as the interim tag is applied, which it is, the Rooney Rule doesn't come into effect here. When the season ends and they're going to remove the tag, if they remove the tag at all, they still have to interview minority candidate. That's still what they have to do. Dan Schwartz, Stott, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Real Muto, Bohm, Castellanos, Vierling, Marsh. Good lineup or nah? Wait, Vierling and Marsh. What, are you having Schwarber at first base? What's happening? Who's your DH? PJ asked that question. Little platoon? Dan Schwartz, Rizzo's offensive numbers are all lower than Rhys Hoskins. That's correct, other than the strikeouts. Okay. Yes, but that's what I mean. If you're, and I talked about the on-base percentage, talked about the batting average, talked about the power numbers. Hoskins is up there with all of them over Rizzo. But Rizzo's a Gold Glove first baseman. It's been a minute since he won a Gold Glove, but if you're just looking to upgrade the defensive position of first base, Rizzo's go out and get Anthony Rizzo. But no, I'd still rather have Hoskins. Not for defensive purposes, just overall. Thanks, everybody. No, I think Gene Segura is done. I don't think he's coming back. I know Corey Simon yesterday talked about possibly bringing him back on a lower number, and that's possible. But I only think that happens if the Phillies do not get my man Trea Turner, and I do think they get Trea Turner. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Let me get you guys your morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. I was going to save those Hertz numbers for this, but whatever. I already rattled them off there. Flyers back at tomorrow night against Columbus Blue Jackets. So that'll be fun. 7 o'clock puck drop in Columbus. Then tomorrow night, 7:30 tip-off in Atlanta against the Hawks. Sixers will go for 2-0 on their newly decreed season. So that'll be fun. We'll see how all that plays out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, a perfect price. Online tonight at StevenSinger.com. My thanks to the guest today, Max McGee, for helping us out. Jim Hyder produced the Pro Job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.